Canadian health officials are now on high alert as medical officials in the U.S. are reporting nearly 200 teenagers and young adults have developed critical respiratory problems, possibly linked to vaping. Here with more details on this story is Dr. Martin Kolb. He's the Director of Division of Respirology at McMaster University. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
First of all, outline for people who might not be familiar, what are some of the risks associated with vaping?
Well, the risks are obviously founded by the fact that you smoke something into your lungs that you're not supposed to do. Yeah, so you know that people always complain when the air is polluted in a city, and they say this is bad, they wear masks. And with vaping, you smoke in something that you really don't know what it is into your lungs, and those cause risks onto the inner lining of the lungs and cause health problems.
What's the difference, doctor, between vaping cannabis oil compared to vaping nicotine?
That's actually a complex question. So if you just vape nicotine in a solution, that's actually, in a way, a medical delivery of a substance, but you rarely get that. So most vaping solutions have other things in there that are not well defined. I mean, you have different flavors, different ingredients. There were studies done that analyzed the fluids, and there were all sorts of things in there that were not declared on the packaging. So if you have only a nicotine solution, that might be, in a way, useful for smoke cessation programs, but this is by far not the majority of vaping solutions that's out there. They are not defined, so you really don't know what is in there, what you put into your lungs.
There is a perception, doctor, among people and parents as well, that vaping is somehow less dangerous than cigarette smoking, for example. We can't see the smoke, so therefore somehow it feels like a cleaner alternative. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, that's the impression, and that's, of course, what the industry wants us to believe. And, you know, even if it might be true, but it's not about arguing what is less bad than cigarette smoking. It's still not as good as fresh air. I mean, that's just as simple as is, right? But this is what all the marketing wants to tell us. And, you know, you also hear arguments that vaping, particularly vaping nicotine, might be just useful to assist smoke cessation, which might be true, but we don't talk about that factor. We talk about getting young people, youth, adults into smoking something through vaping. So it's not about smoke cessation, yeah? And it's not about being less bad than something that's really bad. You should smoke nothing into your lungs, just as that.
The timing of these findings from the U.S. Come at an important time as parents are getting ready to send their kids off to school. I know we just received a letter from our kids' school about new data from the University of Waterloo that says vaping by teens aged 16 to 19, this is here in Canada, has jumped 74% in the last year. Nearly 15% of teens are regularly vaping. Vaping production in Canada barred from being sold or given to anyone under the age of 18 years old. So there are limits in place. Kids know how to get their hands on it. What else can be done?
You know, that's the first step, and I think what has to be done, in my view, is also just have less visible access to the vaping devices. If you just go to a convenience store that sells vaping devices, or a store, I mean, it's right beside the candy. Yeah, so this is not anything that caters to an adult, grown-up population that's been smoking for 30 years. It's really getting young people interested in the devices. They have all sorts of interesting flavors that appeal to young people. They are like peach flavor, they have bubblegum flavor, they have mint. Yeah, so I think that is something that the government has to consider, that they should just make it less visible and less attractive for young people to even consider.
Similar rules then to cigarettes, behind the counter, less attractive packaging.
But I would think so. I think that should be important. And of course, inform the public and inform the youth that this is not anything harmless. Even if people say it's not as bad as cigarette smoking, but you know, same thing if you look at shotgun violence. An automatic rifle is, of course, worse than a pistol, but you still can kill someone with a pistol.
Dr. Kolb, thanks for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.